Yes, George, our guy, George Kittle, just said exactly the right thing and gave the 49ers front office a massive gift, if only they'll listen to him. In today's video, we are discussing what George Kittle is begging the 49ers front office to do this offseason. Plus, we're talking about some defensive tackles. Hit that subscribe button if you're looking for daily 49ers content. But yesterday's poll, we talked about your favorite tight end, not named George Kittle, and you guys came out strong for Vernon Davis and Brent Jones. So my favorite, Vernon Davis, wins out, but Brent Jones not far behind, so got to give credit where credit is due. Both of them absolute beasts in their own separate ways, but love that one. That was an interesting one for sure. And today's we're getting to who is your favorite edge rusher, not named Charles Haley. Now, I love this one mostly because many Niners fans would pick him as one of the best ever to play the position, but he was another one of those guys that divides opinion in ways because of the different jerseys that he wore. And for him, of course, the big one is he won Super Bowls in a Niners uniform, and then he went and won 3 more Super Bowls in a Dallas Cowboys jersey. And that's something that I can't ever take away from my memory. The dude was a gnarly man. So I've picked him as the one you can't choose because I think the conversation around the remaining edge rushers is pretty interesting. I already have the poll going on the channel, so go check out the posts part of my YouTube channel and cast your vote for your favorite edge rusher in 49ers history, not named Charles Haley. I've left some big names to choose from: Fred Dean, Nick Bosa, Tommy Hart, once upon a time, Aldon Smith, Justin Smith. There are some guys in there, okay? But we're going to get to defensive tackles tomorrow, so just focusing on edge rushers. Now, George Kittle said exactly the right thing about how the 49ers should approach the offseason. Listen here to what he said, if I can get this to actually work. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Listen to what George Kittle said related to how the 49ers should be approaching the offseason.
If the Super Bowl showed anything, it's if you have a really good offensive line and a really good defensive line, it doesn't matter what the other team has. It just doesn't matter. So I think that's my goal. That has always been my goal. Let's line up the 5 best guys on offensive line and with a great tight end, and let's run the hell out of the football and protect. Or on D-line, hey, let's get another D tackle or someone to pair with Nick Bosa and Leonard Floyd, and let Fred Warner run a little free out there and like put less pressure on our DBs. That's always my thing, and that's kind of what's worked for us in the past. You know, at one point in 2019, I think we had 7 first-round draft picks on our defensive line. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. And so I'd love to somehow get back to that again.
So there you go. That's where,
send a text to Rob Plankin.
if I get that to turn off,
incredible job. Like, it's not a day. To be able
at
to
some point
prepare the Lakers for life after
oh my goodness,
LeBron.
I don't even know where that sound's
Obviously,
coming
they're
from
moving on
anymore.
from Anthony Davis,
Sometimes
but to get
websites
Luka
are
who's
crazy.
20
That was courtesy of USA Today. Literally had to shut down the entire web browser on that one. That was kind of crazy. That was courtesy of USA Today, but a very interesting point. Now, I think there's some like nuances there. If we want to get into the bitter details of what was said there, we could go that route. And now that I've shut down my browser, I've got some things in some places where they weren't at before. So I'm going to find my spot. But all that to say, I think what's most interesting there is what we do with that. So stick around because we're going to talk about kind of the downstream effects of what George Kittle is talking about. And I'm interested in your take in the comment section about how the 49ers should solve this problem, how they should approach it. So starting with this one, if you say yes to a defensive tackle, which is the exact words that George Kittle was talking about, picking up a defensive tackle, these are the top-rated defensive tackles, according to PFF, that you could choose from. Mason Graham out of Michigan, Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, Walter Nolan out of Mississippi, Derek Harmon out of Oregon, Darius Alexander, Toledo, TJ Sanders, South Carolina, and Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State. Now, I think unless you move up, you are not getting a Mason Graham out of Michigan. So you can forget about him as much as I would love to see the 49ers move up for this guy. I don't see the 49ers getting him. He's 6'3", 230. I think if I remember correctly, Kenneth Grant is closer to like 250. Same height, though. Some big hosses coming out of Michigan available this draft season. So let me know what you guys think if you're looking for a DT about these particular individuals. I think this is an interesting one. I don't know if the 49ers are going to go with the defensive tackle because of the depth. I think I would see them, if they are going to go defensive line, they're going to go edge, and I'll have to talk about edge rushers at some point tomorrow or the next day. But these are the best DTs available. Let me know who you think and where you think the 49ers should be drafting a defensive tackle. Who should they be going for, and how late should they be waiting before they draft their first defensive tackle? If you could go up and get a Mason Graham, I'm not at all disappointed about that. So if there's a move and you end up getting if you end up getting Mason Graham, like, I'm feeling pretty good about that decision. I'm feeling good about the longevity of that decision and the impact of that decision. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments, as always. The other thing that's, I think, worth noting is what he's talking about. What George Kittle's talking about is saying no to a guy like Tyler Warren. He's saying we need to focus there. He even referenced 2019 and how many first-round draft pick defensive linemen were on the team in 2019, and with a point to say we need to go and do that. So we need to spend draft capital on defensive linemen. We need to trade for first-round defensive lineman talent. We need to go pick up free agent defensive line talent. Those are the only three ways you're going to pick up a first-round draft pick or a first-rounder defensive lineman. So if those are your options, you're going to be saying no to a guy like Tyler Warren, who is a guy that I feel like there have always been a group of 49ers fans that are pushing for this move for Tyler Warren. And I see it. Like, I see different coming in waves with different people who weren't talking about the 49ers drafting a tight end in the first round, and then all of a sudden they're talking about it. So, like, this is an interesting story because I think it still has legs, and there's definitely a group of people right now who believe the 49ers' best move in the first round is to go after Tyler Warren. So I think for me, like, thinking about this and thinking about what the 49ers have wanted and how they've drafted for tight ends in the past and what this all means, I know that the most recent report for restricted free agents would include like Jake Tonjes. So there are definitely tight ends out there that the 49ers already have their eyes on. But will the 49ers, these are the two questions that I think need to be answered if the 49ers move on from a position like this in the first round, which doesn't mean, of course, you can't draft a tight end later in the rounds. Will the 49ers ignore their quest for a second pass-catching tight end? That's the first question, because they have not had the greatest of luck in drafting tight ends in recent years, okay? Number two, will they ignore their deep quest for a lethal 12 and 22 personnel team? Will they ignore that deep quest that they seem to have for those two tight end sets? Those are things that I'm not sure about, because I don't see them personally. I don't see them diving deep for Tyler Warren. I just don't see them doing that in the first round. However, I know also in the back of my head that they have a desire to run two pass-catching tight ends, and they tried making moves for guys who could catch the football, and it didn't translate for whatever reason. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out for the Niners and see what types of adjustments the 49ers want to do offensively heading into next year to make up for the losses of last year and to hopefully be better suited in the event that a guy like Christian McCaffrey is struggling to get on the field injury-wise. The 49ers need to be in a better position going forward. So this regrouping that they're doing and the extra time they had to prep is going to be beneficial for the draft, but also beneficial for scheming for the future. I'm sure it's not going to be wholesale changes to the style and scheme, but I do think we're going to be seeing some new, slightly different things coming out of the offense this upcoming season. And I'm interested. I did a video last year before the season even started, I want to say, about the 49ers' interest in 22 personnel and 12. And so, I'm interested to see how this all plays out. If obviously a guy like Cam Latu didn't work out, but there are going to be other guys that they're going to want to see out there and give them the shot. Ultimately, can anybody own that second tight end role that can actually be a force in the passing game? That's something that I have yet to see. We have yet to see in recent years, and we'll have to wait to see. So much fun, though. We have Combine coming up, so make sure you subscribe. You don't miss out on that. We also, of course, have free agency opening up in a couple weeks here, and then 65 days until the 2025 NFL Draft. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of that. Appreciate you, and hope you have a fantastic, what is today? Tuesday, a fantastic Tuesday. Still here. Haven't gone yet.